Hello and welcome everyone. So let's start our new video, which is on enhanced recovery pathway. So this enhanced recovery pathway was developed to improve the quality and experience of the care of the patients undergoing elective gynecological surgery. So basically it is about how you should be taking care of the patients who are undergoing surgery in the pre-op, intra-op and post-op. Okay, to improve or enhance the recovery and the patients can get better at the earliest. Okay, so that's the basic motto. The enhanced recovery pathways enable the patient to recover more quickly and leave the hospital sooner. The enhanced recovery pathways reduce physical and psychological stress on the patients and involve the patients in their own care, which leads to better outcomes. What is the definition of enhanced recovery pathway? So it is a generic model of care designed to facilitate faster recovery following the elective surgery. So that is the definition. What is the aim of enhanced recovery pathway? The aim is to promote earlier hospital discharge and faster return to normal activities for the patient. So we know that it is basically for early recovery. The benefits, of course, are going to be improved patient satisfaction, quicker return to the activities, reduced cost workload to the system, and less variation in the patient care. So you know the exact protocol on how to take care of the patient. So remember, for any program to be implemented, it requires a team, and successful implementation will require the commitment from the stakeholders in all the levels of care. So they will require a lot of people who will be taking care of the patient at all the levels, starting from the ground level. So it is going to require the multidisciplinary team of doctors, which will be gynecologists, surgeons, anesthetists, specialist nurses. And there are people who are called as enhanced recovery champions who will be forming a team and will be seeing whether the enhanced recovery pathway is taken up by almost everyone at all the levels. Okay, so remember, all this team will carry out the awareness about ERP to other staff members and will carry out the audits to measure the implementation and impact of the ERP. The audits can include readmission rate, hospital cost, and patient satisfaction surveys. Now remember, patient's involvement in any program is very important to improve the patient satisfaction. So involving the patient and their carriers at every step of this process from decision to discharge in partnership with the clinical team is fundamental to the enhanced recovery. And empowering the patients to a significant role contrasts with the passive sick role of the patients that they play in a traditional care. So empowering them, telling them that you will recover in as early as possible, and giving them the best appropriate treatment, and also telling them about what to do and not to do. So improving their health by making them aware of what exactly will be done with them is also going to improve the enhanced recovery program's motto, right? Crucial to the patient's psychological preparation is accurate and consistent information about the enhanced recovery should be given. Patients' feedback are also very important. So remember, for anything, any program to grow, or for any program to take place appropriately, you require it to be implemented. You require people to be supervising, monitoring it, and you require feedbacks to improve it, right? So this is what the enhanced recovery program is in your talk article. So though it looks a little like it looks a little complicated, but it is not actually, and it is very, very, very simple. So remember that it starts from the primary care. So what the people of primary care they have to do. So when there is a referral from the primary care, it should be seen that the patients have optimized preoperative hemoglobin levels. So we don't have to give the patient's blood as much as possible during the operations. So the patient is already having good hemoglobin. And if the patient has got any comorbidities, that needs to be managed. Like a patient of diabetes is being sent, we need to see at the primary levels only that the diabetes is under control. So that is going to reduce the recovery period, right? So at the primary care level, what do we see? We see the hemoglobin, we see that the comorbidities are taken care of, we see that the patient doesn't have any other problems, any allergies, any histories. So all these things needs to be ruled out, need to be taken care of, right, at the primary level. Now, what is to be done at uh, in the preoperative period? Okay, so in the preoperative period, you should be optimizing the health and the medical condition. So maintaining the, if the patient has got diabetes and the sugar has been controlled at the primary level, seeing that it remains controlled until the patient undergoes surgery, optimizing the health, then informed decision making, that the patient should be knowing everything about what the patient is going to undergo. Okay, so giving them all the information and letting them make the decision, that is again an important part. Patient information and expectation needs to be managed. Patient needs to be told about the discharge already, and the preoperative therapy instructions should be given as appropriate. So all this happens in the preoperative period. Okay, what happens in the, once the patient gets admitted? So the admission should generally be on the same day of the operation, because then it reduces the anxiety and all. So remember, it should be, and also reduces the hospital stay. So admission on the same day as much as possible. Optimize the fluid hydration. So do not overload fluids, do not dehydrate the patients. Okay, so it should be optimized. The carbohydrate loading should be seen. So we know that patients can be given carbohydrates until 2 hours before the surgery, right? So they can be given the carbohydrate drinks until 2 hours before the surgery. Of course, the food needs to be stopped. So the solids needs to be stopped at least 6 hours before the surgery. But carbohydrate drinks can help patient to prevent, or to, it will also reduce the recovery time later on, because the patient will be having the nutrition for at least up till 2 hours before the surgery. So that is going to reduce the starvation. No or reduced oral bowel preparation. So try not to prepare the bowel like we do for some major surgeries, like one day before we prepare the bowel so that the patient's bowel is empty, but then that actually causes problems during the recovery of the post-op, in the post-op, because the bowel take time to come back to their normal uh, function, right? Then how to see the patient intraoperatively. Now remember, intraoperatively, do the minimal invasive surgery as much as possible, right? So do laparoscopy, do the minimal invasive surgeries, because that is going to reduce the recovery period. Use the transverse incisions, because we know that vertical incisions are again going to increase the hospital stay and may cause complications too. So use the transverse incisions if you are doing an abdominal surgery. No gastric, nasogastric tube as much as possible. Use regional blocks, so that will reduce the pain. Epidural management, again for reduction of the pain. Optimizing the fluid management even intraoperatively, again that is very important. Do not give overloading of the, there shouldn't be any overloading of the fluid. Individualized goal directed fluid therapy should be given. Okay, so this is about the intraoperative period. So put the patient in the appropriate position. Do not excessively do any the environment shouldn't be very, very cold, so there shouldn't be any shivering of the patients. keeping the patients under blanket, taking the proper care of the patients, not using any extra fluids of the giving any extra fluids to the patients, not uh, unnecessarily putting drains, because that is going to increase the recovery period. So all the interventions should be minimized and should be done as much as possible. So no drains, try not to put in the catheter as much as possible. So all these things are to be taken care. Now, what is done in the post-op period? So in the post-op period, there should be planned mobilization, because as soon as the patient gets mobilized, the sooner the patient is recovered, right? There should be rapid hydration and nourishment, and that is why now things have been changed and the patients are being given the food to eat and drink as soon as the patient feels hungry, right? So we start with water and all as soon as the patient uh, gets conscious, if the patient had a GA or something, and then after that, the as soon as the patient feels hungry, we start with a little bit of fluids and increase them, right? Then appropriate IV therapy should be there. So give only where required, when required. There shouldn't be any excessive wound drains or unnecessary wound drains. No nasogastric tube. Catheters should be removed as early as possible. Regular oral analgesia should be given to reduce the pain. Paracetamol and NSAID should be given to reduce the pain, and avoid any systemic opiates based analgesics, because they are going to cause more sedation and going to increase the recovery, right? So if you are using opiates, try and use them only topically. So that is about the post-operative period. Okay, and then in the follow-up, this is again very important, because once the patient is it have we are done with the surgery and we are done with the post-op period, it is really very important to see the patient again, whether the patient is recovering. So the patient needs to be given 24-hour telephone number so that our program works well. And in case the patient has got any problem, can come back to the hospital. So the patient should be given 24-hour telephone number for the follow-up. Patient should be given the therapy support if there is any stoma. If the patient should be told about the physiotherapy that they have to undergo after going home. And they need to be discharged as soon as the discharge criteria is met. Okay, so this is just the method of improving the patient care. And remember, in the conclusion, because I wanted to, this is a very small topic, but a very, very, very important topic, can come up. They ask questions from this ER pathway, because this has been running and is real motto of the NHS there, because they want patient satisfaction, they want early discharges. Of course, who doesn't want that, right? So remember, ER leads to the improved patient satisfaction. Less, we saw this already, less variation in the patient care, then there is shorter length of the hospital stay, there is reduction in the complications, and there are less readmissions. This, there is a need of trust to move forward using the ER principles for the benefit of the patients undergoing the gynecological surgeries and for the NHS as a whole. Okay, so basically, this is a pathway that will help you to prevent any unnecessary intervention that may happen when the patient gets admitted to the hospital. Okay, so minimum intervention and early recovery, patient satisfaction, maintaining the follow-up, all these things are very important parts of the enhanced recovery pathway. Involving the stakeholders, doing the regular audits, and increasing the awareness are the very important mottos and the way the ER pathways are handled. So remember these things, and also remember that this is a very, very important chapter. I hope this has been of use to you. Thank you very much, guys.